Hey, shalom, shalom. This your brother Yuwatazak. All right, first and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Okay, double honors to the elders at Great Millstone who teach and who rule well, taught me this truth and continue to set a great example for all of Israel to follow. Salutations and a big shalom to all you Akim out there pushing this word in truth and sincerity, both here in the Americas and abroad, of course, and to the few sisters who are listening and learning shalom. Just kind of going through the spirit today, man. I'm gonna start off with Psalms 100. All right, it says, "Make a joyful noise unto the Lord, all ye lands. Serve the Lord with gladness. Come before his presence with singing." So, in the times that we're in, it doesn't seem like as much things to be joyful for, It doesn't seem like there's anything to be glad about. But if you know what this prophecies are there, that it speaks about Israel, then, despite the day-to-day bullshit that you have to go through, then, you have to come to understanding that, there is a reason that we can be glad, that we can be joyful, and it's because of hope. And that hope is in our redemption through Yahweh Shai Mashiach, whom the world calls Jesus Christ. All right. There's redemption in, seeing this kingdom fall. There's joy and gladness. Matter of fact, let me see if I can pull that up real quick. My computer wants to act correct. Salaki, give me a second. I just wanted to get this to touch. This is Ecclesiasticus 25. This is kind of like a freestyle video. I was just going through the spirit, so bear with me. And this bullshit ass computer. All right, here we go. This is Ecclesiastes 25. I'm going to start at 7. It says, "There be 9 things which I have judged in mine heart to be happy, and the 10th I will utter with my tongue. A man that hath joy of his children, he that liveth to see the fall of his enemies." So right there, I brought that out to bring, bring out the point, because I see duality in that, because if you go back to Psalms 100, it says, "Make a joyful noise unto the Lord." Verse 2, it says, "Serve the Lord with gladness," understanding there's not much to be joyful and glad about, but the prophecies, the hope, right? So, number one, basically, you really should be content in all things. Number one, all right, even when you're brought to a low estate, and I'll bring that scripture out in a minute, but this particular one here says, "There'll be 9 things which I have judged in my heart to be happy. And the 10th I will utter with my tongue. A man that hath joy of his children." Boom. So, specifically speaking of brothers, sisters who have kids, despite the bullshit, if you're going to do baby mama, baby daddy drama, and your kids are happy and healthy, like, that's joy, man. You know how many kids is born with spina bifida? Niggas be bitching because they kids ain't good at sports. Other kids don't have legs or arms. They can't walk, can't think. So just in there, hey man, be joyful for the small things, man. Lord said, be wise over the little that I give you, and I shall give you more. roughly paraphrasing. All right. So that in itself, man, I know for me, especially during the bullshit that I'm going through right now, there's, besides the hope I have in Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, man, my kids is pretty much the only thing keeping me sane, and, it's joy in that. And then there's a prophetical thing. Right after it talks about the children, it says, and he that liveth to see the fall of his enemy. Now, who is our enemy? That great red dragon, Esau, Edom. All right. And so, those of us who are alive now have a very good understanding that we may very well be alive to see the fall. We might have to live through the fall, which is going to be treacherous. All right. Also known as Jacob's trouble. Okay. But at the same time, it's very hopeful that we can be able to see it. All right. Verse 8, it says, well is him that dwelleth with the wife of understanding, and that hath not slipped with his tongue, and hath not served a man more unworthy than himself. And now I'm not going to get too much farther than that, because the point was, there are things to be joyful and glad about. Okay. If it's not happening now, be joyful and glad about the expectation of, the prophecies that are in this book, man, because the word don't go out void. Okay. Back to Psalms 100, verse 3, it says, know ye that the Lord, he is God. It is he that has made us, and not we ourselves. We are his people and the sheep of his pasture. All right. So, hey, man, this is David speaking, by the way, so he's once again speaking as an Israelite in representation of all other Israelites, that we are the children of the Most High. Okay. And speaking to the righteous ones. Okay. We are the sheep. All right. Being led by the shepherd, that is Yahweh Shai. All right. And, it's beautiful when you think about that, because, after all, salvation, life, death is in the hands of Yahweh. But it refers to Yahweh's son, Yahweh Shai, as the lamb that was slain. All right. Why? Because he came down just like, what is a lamb? Is not a lamb sheep? Okay. So if we're the sheep, the Lord came down, and now he positioned himself low, just like us, so that he could not only fulfill the law of sacrifice for his people, all right, but also to lay the foundations of the life that we should aspire to be, or aspire to live up to, I should say. Okay. So we need to be very circumspect, all right, when we're calling ourselves the people of God, because our lives should now emulate the things that Yahweh Shai displayed during his time here. All right. If we're truly the sheep of his pasture. And let me grab something real quick. Bear with me. All right, this is Ephesians 2:8. It says, for by grace are ye saved through faith. All right, so to be a part of the sheep, we have to have faith. With faith, then we have grace. All right. Then it says, and that not of yourselves, it is the gift of Yahweh. All right, boom. Let's go back to Psalms 100. It says, know ye that the Lord, he is God. It is he that hath made us, and not we ourselves. So we didn't make ourselves, and we can't give ourselves salvation. We can't all of a sudden snap our fingers and have faith. Faith is a gift. Grace is a gift. All right. Back to Ephesians. Verse 9 says, not of works, lest any man should boast. So there's nothing that we can do, all right, outside of the will of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai to make ourselves any faithful, any more faithful, any more or to be bestowed grace. Okay, no, these are all gifts from the Most High. You know, you think that you're a faithful person, all right, to the Most High, but it's only because the Lord gave you that measure of faith, and that measure of which, by the way, translates to the faith being the way you get salvation. So in a sense, salvation itself is the gift that you're getting. All right. So, you know, call O Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Verse 10 says, for we are his workmanship, created in a Mashiach Yahushai unto good works, which Yahweh hath before ordained that we should walk in them. So here we go again with, this ain't really something that we can generate within our human mentality. All right. This is all preordained. This is, you know, written. And this is how I like to explain it, you know, as a man, just for the sake of understanding. All right. If we are, you know, it always speaks about the duality of faith. It speaks about the duality, or excuse me, the duality of the spirit and the flesh. All right. You'll see that mirrored specifically all in the New Testament, where it talks about, like, you know, two different consciousnesses, right? So you have to kind of split those in your understanding to bring it into one full understanding. So free will is not a thing to the spiritual person. Why? Because if you understand spiritual things, then all things go back to the great spirit, all right, which is Yahweh, all right, who is the creator of Yahweh Shai and the rest of the angels, and then everything else you see in existence. Okay, so understanding that he is the Alpha and the Omega, it's like Kang the Conqueror, right? Kang is if you're, you know, for all my Marvel fans, if you watch Loki and this, that, and the third, he's everybody from Kang the Conqueror to He Who Remains and all of this crazy shit, right? Because he's sitting at the end of time, understanding what's already going to happen. At the same time, he's present with us now. You know, like, it's very hard for us to understand it because we're not in the spirit, we're in the flesh. So in the flesh, it seems through our experience that we have free will, but it's just not a fact, you know? But it's good to have that understanding that we have these choices. And once we get back to our spiritual selves, we'll be able to look and be like, oh, okay, so I was on all that type time. I was going out there on the highway. I was being, you know, adherent to this law and that law and feeling conviction and a pull on my heart to do this, that, the third, because I was always going to end up here. This is who I was, right? So, you know, it's good to understand that. And it should also help to give us comfort in this experience as humans, because if we're already on this path, all right, from what we think is our own volition, then it might be a good chance that we're of that elect number, you know? So call Allah Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. All right, so verse 11, it says, wherefore remember that ye being in time past Gentiles in the flesh, who are called uncircumcision by that which is called the circumcision in the flesh made by hands, that at that time ye were without a Mashiach, being aliens from the commonwealth of Israel and strangers from the covenant of promise, having no hope and without Yahweh in the world. But now in Yahweh Shai Mashiach, ye who sometimes were far off are made nigh by the blood of a Mashiach. You know, so hey, man, this is beautiful, man. And just in case anybody wants to get stupid, when it says Gentiles in the flesh who are called uncircumcision, I mean, just the word uncircumcision, you know, should tell you, you know, the laws of Moses tell you that you're supposed to circumcise the men. And 8 days? On the 8th day, if I'm not mistaken. All right. So why wouldn't a person be a part of the circumcision? Because of years of captivity under, let's just say, the Greeks. All right. They've adopted Greek mannerisms, cultural similarities. OK, they think that they're Greek. So they're operating under the mentality that they are just like, hey, the niggas and spics, excuse my language, the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans and Native Americans in this country think they're American. The Mexicans think they're Spanish. You get it? So there were people who were thinking they were Greeks, Romans, you know what I mean? And I'm talking even high rate. I mean, there was Israelite Caesars, Israelite generals. All right, these people, you know, they completely, it only takes one generation to completely remove the culture of which you're native to. All right. And that's what's happening here. And so that's why they were uncircumcised. All right. But it took the Lord coming and making such a commotion in the social fabric at the time. All right. And in the spirit, obviously, quickening the spirits of his people. OK, to bring them out of the darkness into light, so that, you know, even though they were completely estranged from the customs and the knowledge of who they were, now they're brought back by the love of Yahweh through the sacrifice of Yahushua Mashiach, whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus, man. All right, because before then, it tells you right here, it says, and strangers from the covenant of promise, having no hope. You know, there's a song in the Christian church. It goes, my hope is built on nothing less than Jesus Christ's righteousness. All right. And we know that's not the name, but I bring out the song for context. Yo, this is where it comes from. All right. What's the covenants? The covenants made back in Deuteronomy 28, man. The original covenant of the law. All right. And of course, the new covenant will happen in the kingdom. All right. When the law is written in our inward parts, and we won't even have to think about sinning or not sinning, because we're going to be perfect, just like Yahushua Mashiach, man. You know, and that's, you know, we don't want to sin. We can't stand to be in these bodies full of sin. Hey, man, like Paul said, you know, the things that I shouldn't do, I do. But the things that I should do, I don't do. Oh, wretched man am I, man. But it's not me that does it, not my spirit. OK, but the sin that dwells in me, man, because I'm just a man, you know, and I'm, of course, roughly paraphrasing. But, you know, hey, man, you know, and I bring all of this out really to point out the grace and mercy, all right, of Yahushua Mashiach, man, because of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, because, you know, it's you know, he could have just, you know what I mean? He could just done away with us, man. All right. He almost did it a few times, you know. So we have to understand, and that's why I keep going back to Psalms 100, and I'm gonna end it off in this, man, because of these things. All right, I want you to really listen to verse 4 and 5 of Psalm 100, and then we'll close it with that. It says, "Enter into his gates with thanksgiving, and into his courts with praise. Be thankful unto him, and bless his name." If nothing else to be thankful for, why wouldn't you be thankful for the opportunity to receive salvation and to live as a prince of the power and be a perfect a man or woman in the kingdom of heaven that is definitely going to come? That's where our hope is. Because before we were strangers from the covenant of promise, having no hope, right? But now in Yahushua Mashiach, ye who sometimes were afar off are made nigh by the blood of a Mashiach, pursuing Ephesians 2 and 13. All right. Going back to Psalms 100, it says, "For the Lord is good, and his mercy is everlasting, and his truth endureth to all generations," man. So the same way that they were strangers, we were strangers. But the same mercy and grace and truth that they got, all right, now we have the opportunity to get, man. You know, and it's a beautiful thing, man. Call Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, man. And I pray that, you know, this was edifying, at least in the slightest bit. I know it makes me feel good. So, you know, I want to give double honors to the elders and apostles at Great Millstone. And of course, you know, all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, Bashim Rakakwadash. All right. Hey, blessings to you, man. You know, shalom to the elect.